الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. إن شاء الله تعالى we'll go through the كتاب الحج والعمرة from the book of أخصر المختصرات by الإمام ابن بلبان رحمه الله. So we'll go through the book إن شاء الله تعالى as far as the مسائل that are mentioned in it. As usual, we would restrict ourselves to the متن and trying to understand every mas'ala, inshallah. And maybe at the end, if there are questions with regards to how things are and some practical things nowadays, we can do that, inshallah. So, assuming, inshallah, that everyone has a copy of the book or you're following, because that's what this is about. It's not a general lecture about the ahkam of al-Hajj, where we talk about what's happening nowadays and how to practically do things and what to pack and what not to pack. These types of things are different. We're just strictly reading the book so that we can study this chapter of al-Hajj wal-ʿUmrah from the book of Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat according to the madhab of Ahmad rahimahullah, with whatever rulings that can be mentioned with some of the fatawa of the ulama. So he says here Kitab al-Hajj wal-ʿUmrah, and inshallah when we study it in al-Rawd, it's called Kitab al-Manasik. So sometimes the ulama, they would give the title of it as al-Manasik, the plural of nusuk, and sometimes they would say with details al-Hajj wal-ʿUmrah. So first of all, he says here يجبان على المسلم الحر المكلف المستطيع في العمر مرة على الفور. So this is here what the wujub that the Hajj and Umrah both are يجبان. In the muthanna here, in the dual tense, that both Hajj and Umrah are both obligatory upon these four that are mentioned. So he says يجبان على المسلم. So this is the first condition. على المسلم. الحج والعمرة both. Mandatory upon, obligatory upon the Muslim, and the evidence of that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. The ayah says complete the Hajj and the Umrah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Umrah also is wajibah, is an obligation once in lifetime. So the first condition is Shartul Islam, of course. So Al-Kafir is not mandatory upon him, even though he will be asked about it in the Day of Judgment. So Shart Al-Islam here is Shart Wujub and Shart Sihha and Shart Ijza', as we talked about also the different types of shurut, meaning Shart Sihha. Sihha, that means it's a condition of the validation of the Hajj. If someone that is not a Muslim made Hajj, right, it is not valid, it is not sahih. And if he becomes a Muslim, he has to make Hajj again, just assuming if someone would ever do something like this. Shartu wujub, that means that if a person is a Muslim, then Hajj is obligatory upon him. So he fulfilled that shart. And for it to be valid, that he has to be upon the deen of Islam. The second thing is al-hur. So here the condition of al-hur, which is al-hurriya, which is freedom, not being a slave. Because the slave, he does not own anything for his own self. He does not have the time even to go for Hajj or the means to it. So it's not wajib on a slave. If there was slavery, it's not mandatory upon him. But this is then, in that case, is shart wujub. This is shart of al-hurriya. If a person is free, then Hajj is obligatory upon him. But if a person is a slave, for example, if there was slavery, and he made Hajj, his Hajj is valid. Right? So as far as the shart al-sihha, the shart of validity of the Hajj is sound if he makes Hajj, but it's not obligatory upon him. So this is al-hurriya here is shart wujub and not shart sihha. The third one, al-mukallaf. Al-mukallaf is the one that is addressed by the ahkam al-shar'iyya, someone that is responsible for his actions. And usually al-mukallaf refers to the one that is reached the age of taklif, which is the age of puberty, and he has aql, he's sane, he's not insane. So to push away the child, right, if it's a child, and someone that is insane, but this has details to it. For example, or when it comes to the al-bulugh is shart wujub only. If someone reached the age of puberty, then Hajj is obligatory upon him. But if it's a child, it's not obligatory upon the child. But if the child makes Hajj, the Hajj is valid and he gets reward for it. His parents get reward for it. But if he reaches the age of puberty, he has to make Hajj again because now he is addressed by the ahkam al-shar'iyya, by the rulings. So this is with al-bulugh as far as the taklif. But for someone that does not have aql, majnoon, someone that is insane, the Hajj is not obligatory upon him to start with. And no sahha even if he makes Hajj, is not sahih, it's not valid. He's insane. So that's why those who might make it difficult for those who have mental illness, that they would take them for Hajj. It's not mandatory and it's not valid to start with. They're not responsible for their actions. So this is with regards to al-mukallaf, with regards to the al-bulugh and al-aql. The fourth one, al-mustati'. This is a condition special for Hajj, which is the one that has the istita'a, has the ability to do it. And this is shart wujub. This is shart wujub. If someone has the means, has the ability to make it for Hajj, then Hajj is obligatory upon him. So, what that means, and that makes it clear the difference between shart wujub and shart sihha. If someone doesn't have the means to make Hajj, and he made Hajj, his Hajj is valid. His Hajj is sahih, but it wasn't mandatory upon him. So this is al-istita'a. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. For those who are able to go to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Mecca. And al-istita'a also has details to it, that he has the physical ability, he has the financial ability for him to go and to come back and to leave something that is sufficient for his family. So this is al-mustati'. All of these individuals, and there are more to come. So يجبان both al-Hajj wal-ʿUmrah على المسلم الحر المكلف المستطيع في العمر مرة. In al-Umr is lifetime. Marra means one time only. This is the wujub is marra. Not that a person should only make it one time. It's only wajib one time. And that's by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if a person do more, yes, it's a virtuous thing, as the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that proves that. So في العمر مرة. And he says على الفور. على الفور immediately. Al-fawr is a word that is used that means right away. The opposite of it, which is the word used in this subject, is at-tarahi. At-tarahi is loose, when something is loose. So the mas'ala here is the hajj wajib ala al-fawr am ala al-tarahi. So if someone has these conditions and he has the istita'a, he has the ability, according to what we hear here now, that means hajj is mandatory upon him immediately. If he delays it and he had the means to go, then according to this here, that means he's athim, he is sinful. He has to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he had the means and he didn't go for hajj. It's not permissible to delay hajj when the person has the means to go for hajj. And al-istita'a, and you see how even perfect the deen is, and how the word used in the Quran, لِمَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا, did not say if you have the money for it, or if you have the physical ability to do it, because there are other things. You might have both, but you're not able to go for hajj because the issues with visas and numbers of people and things like this. So that all comes, as the ulama, they say, under the istita'a. So a person is not sinful if he applies and it didn't happen to him. He's not sinful. But someone has the means and he did not make hajj before, it's wajib ala al-fawr, immediately, and not to be delayed. So he says, فَإِنْ زَالَ, now we're going to get to some of the masail, فَإِنْ زَالَ مَانِعُ حَجٍّ بِعَرَفَةٍ وَعُمْرَةٍ قَبْلَ طَوَافِهَا وَفُعِلَ إِذًا وَقَعَ فَرْضًا. So here, فَإِنْ زَالَ مَانِعُ. Now, as it's obligatory once in lifetime, immediately, and for those who the hajj is wajib upon them, but then what prevented them from making hajj then it's not mandatory upon them. فإن زال مانع حج, what prevented the person to make Hajj is removed when the person is in Arafah. That this is if he's in Hajj before continuing the different manasik of Hajj. Meaning, if a child, he reached puberty at the day of Arafah. He's making Hajj and he reached puberty in the day of Arafah. And this is something that you would find, it happens. Where someone, the sign of puberty happens in the day of Arafah or before the day of Arafah, and he is in state of ihram. So, فإن زال مانع حج بعرفة. Right? If it's in Arafah, and if it's in Umrah, وعمرة قبل طوافها. And the mani', what prevented the person from having the Hajj to be wajib for him, it's removed before making the tawaf of al-Umrah. وفعل, that means both are made, both the Hajj and the Umrah are made, then in that case وقع فرضا. They then be sufficient for it to be fard. They don't have to do it again. And some little details here or examples, when it comes to the young, for example, or someone abd, a slave, he went for Hajj and his owner freed him in the day of Arafah. So now he continues with the ahkam of al-Hajj, and that counts for him as the fard Hajj. He doesn't have to make it again, because the abd or the child, if he reaches the age of puberty or the slave is freed and he made Hajj before, then he has to make another Hajj for the fard, for Hajjatul Islam. But this is basically what it says here. So this mani', what prevented him from making the obligatory Hajj, whether it's age, whether it's slavery, for example, so that is removed as long as it's Arafah, because al-Hajj Arafah. If he passed Arafah, then this Hajj does not count as his fard Hajj. And the same thing for the Umrah before he makes the tawaf for it. وفعل إذا وقع فرضا. If it's done, then it's to be counted as the fard. And so this is the one point here. He says وإن عجز لكبر أو مرض. Now, if there is ajiz, that means the person does not have the istita'a, the ability. Al-ajiz, that means inability. وإن عجز, if he's not able to, لكبر, because of old age, أو مرض, or sickness, لا يرجى برؤه. There's no hope for it to be cured. So this is the mas'ala of a person that is old in age and there's no cure for old age. No one's gonna come back to be younger. And he has a disease that there's no known cure for it that prevents him from making Hajj. So he has ajiz, he's not able to. What is the ruling for that person? لزمه أن يقيم من يحج عنه ويعتمر من حيث وجب. لزمه, that means it becomes obligatory upon him that he would يقيم, that he would make someone to make Hajj on his behalf and make Umrah on his behalf من حيث وجب, from where the Hajj and the Umrah becomes obligatory upon that individual that is not able to make Hajj and Umrah. So if that person is in America, for example, and he old in age, he is sick with sickness, there's no means for cure to it that is known, and he has the means, he has the money, then it's an obligation upon him that he would send someone from his locality, from where he lives, so that the money, as if he himself is going for Hajj, not to have someone to do Hajj on his behalf living in Mecca, for example. Right? Because if he's going to pay, then it has to be as if he is paying from here. But if he doesn't have it from here, that means he's not mustati anyway. So if he was healthy and he doesn't have the financial means to go, then there's no obligation upon him. So this is in the case that he has the means, so it has to be min haythu wajaba, from where the Hajj and the Umrah becomes obligatory upon him, whether he is living in this place or that place. But then it's different if someone would do it on someone's behalf without that person paying anything. This is a different mas'ala here. Like if someone says, he wants to make Hajj on behalf of his father that is alive, and the father is old in age, he never made Hajj before, and he is not able to make it for Hajj, and the son wants to make it for his father, and the father is not going to pay anything. That's fine. It's valid, but with a condition. He has to take the permission from his father because the father is alive. So he has to take permission from him. And in this case, he doesn't have to be min haythu wajaba. Doesn't have to be from where the father lives, because this is tabarru', this is donation. He's doing it from his own goodness. So it doesn't have to be that he travels or initiate the traveling from the place where the father is, as an example. So his son can be living in Mecca, right? And he can make the Hajj on him, or anyone else, doesn't have to be a son. He would make the Hajj, but as far as from his own means, and not from the infaq or the spending of the owner, the person himself. So permission is important. وإن عجز لكبر أو مرض لا يرجى برؤه لزمه أن يقيم من يحج عنه ويعتمر من حيث, from where it's obligatory. And then he says ويجزئانه ما لم يبرأ قبل إحرام نائب. ويجزئانه, we're still in the muthanna here, in the dual tense, because it's referring to the Hajj and the Umrah. So both Hajj and Umrah becomes mujzi', that means it's valid if it's done and it counts. This is with regards to the one that is making badal or making Hajj on behalf of someone else that is still alive, not the dead, still alive, and is not able to make it for Hajj. It counts ما لم يبرأ قبل إحرام نائب, as long as the sick person is not cured before the ihram of a naib, or the one that is acting upon him. So if he get cured, originally he would not have or allow someone to make Hajj on his behalf unless it's a disease لا يرجى برؤه. There's no means for it to be cured, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cured him. If that person is cured before the ihram, before the person acting on his behalf put the ihram on, meaning made the, not just putting it on as a clothing, made ihram, then of course it is not mujzi, he has to do it himself. But if it's after the ihram of a naib, the one that acting on his behalf, then the Hajj and Umrah is counting here, counts from the one that is acting on his behalf, even if he get cured, even if he get cured. So this is here with regards to if the mani', what prevented the person from making Hajj, is removed if it's before the ihram of the one that is acting on his behalf. But with the two conditions: old in age, very old, he's not able to make it, and there's no, la yurja bur'u, there's no means for his cure as far as the people know. Then it says, but if someone doesn't have the money, for example, then there's no such a thing as someone making Hajj on his behalf. It's not wajib on him. This is only in the case of someone has the means, financial means, but physically he's not able to, then it's mandatory upon him to have someone to make Hajj on his behalf. He says, وَشُرِطَ لِمْرَأَةٍ مَحْرَمٌ أَيْضًا. Now this is a different shart here for the woman, that she has a condition that she has a mahram. وَشُرِطَ لِمْرَأَةٍ مَحْرَمٌ أَيْضًا. She has to have all of the conditions to be fulfilled, but to add to it is to have a mahram. That she has to have a mahram for her to go for Hajj or Umrah, if it's of course traveling. وَشُرِطَ لِمْرَأَةٍ مَحْرَمٌ أَيْضًا. Because clearly the Prophet ﷺ forbade women from traveling without a mahram. And in that case, the spending on the mahram is upon her. If he spent on himself, mashallah, is good. If someone would give even the money for someone else to make Hajj as a hadiyah, as a gift, mashallah, this is great. So here, وَشُرِطَ لِمْرَأَةٍ مَحْرَمٌ أَيْضًا. He says, فَإِنْ أَيْسَتْ مِنْهُ استنابت. فَإِنْ أَيْسَتْ مِنْهُ. أَيْسَتْ, that means she gave up. She gave up that she would have a mahram. She, for example, doesn't have any relatives whatsoever. And she gave up on getting married. There's no means for her to get married whatsoever. Not that she still have hope and she didn't get married yet. No means whatsoever. And that's different than being very old in age and being very sick. This is for the case of a woman. And you put many lines under فَإِنْ أَيْسَتْ مِنْهُ. She gave up on having a mahram. Not that she wants to go for Hajj this year and there's no mahram to take her, so let me have someone to make Hajj on my behalf. No. Only if in ayisat. That means she gave up no means whatsoever as far as she knows in the future even that she would ever have a mahram. What's the ruling for her in this case? Istanabat. From a naib. Istanabat, يعني the elephant seen, and the ta, that means she would seek someone to make Hajj on her behalf. So then her ruling becomes mithl, like the one that is old in age. فإن أيست منه استنابت. And you see how here, not that if she doesn't have mahram, okay, you can go ahead and make it for Hajj because you don't have mahram. No. Then someone else can make Hajj on her behalf, and that is sufficient for her. If she still have hope to have a mahram, then she should wait till maybe this will happen. Then he says, وإن مات من لزماه أخرج من تركته. وإن مات من لزماه, if he died, the one that Hajj and Umrah لزماه are obligatory upon him because he fulfilled the conditions. أخرج من تركته. So the person died and he had the means to go for Hajj, but he didn't. So it has to come out from his tarika. Tarika is what he left behind. So it has to be taken out from his inheritance before it's distributed. The money that would be required for someone to make Hajj on his behalf or Umrah on his behalf if he never made Umrah. وإن مات من لزماه أخرج من تركته. So this is in the case of someone died. Then after that, وسنة لمريد إحرام. Sunnah, that means it's from the Sunnah. It's recommended for someone that wants to make Ihram. Here are some of the things that are recommended. غسل, to take a shower to make غسل. أو تيمم لعذر, or to make tayammum if he does not have, if he has an excuse, whether there is no water or there is water but he's not able to make ghusl. And this is a recommended ghusl. We talked about that in the book of at-tayammum, that if the ghusl is mustahab, you can make tayammum for it, and if there's no water. Right? But of course, a person has to, it's mustahab, but I mean it's not obligatory upon the person to make ghusl. He's not in state of janab. So the tayammum for the istihbab, for the recommended, and in that case, of course, he will be in state of wudu anyway. So أو تيمم لعذر وتنظف أو تنظف ويسن also. So whether it's غسل or تيمم لعذر, whether it's for the غسل or tayammum in general, because if it's time for him to make, whether it's even salah or so, he would make tayammum. وتنظف, التنظف is to clean oneself. So this is extra here. When they mention تنظف, other than mentioning ghusl and wudu, because التنظف is an extra work of cleanliness. Because wudu, you can just wash you can have dirt on your thigh, for example. It's not najas, but your wudu is valid. But here التنظف is, it's recommended for a person to clean himself, to remove all kinds of dirt and the extra hair or whatever, to clip his nails, things like this. وتنظف وتطيب في بدن. It's recommended to make تطيب, to put طيب, to put something of a good smell on his body. وكره في ثوب, and it's disliked in the thawb, in the garment that he's going to wear. Right? So this is not to be, no one is to put on the thawb, right? Because what happens here is, if someone put the thawb al-ihram on, and it had smell on it, it has a nice smell to it. According to this, that act itself is valid. But if he takes it off, then it's not permissible to put it on again, because now he's in state of ihram. Understand? Like before ihram, person put the rida on of that he's going to wear for ihram, and he's not in ihram yet, and that thing has a smell to it, and then now he made ihram while it has a smell on it. So far he did not do any mahdur of al-ihram, it's only disliked. But if he takes it off, can he, instead of al-ihram, put something on with perfume or with a smell? No, it's not permissible. So he's not going to be able to do it, to put on again. So that's why it's in the state of karaha here, and of course is to avoid it from the very beginning. So he says here وإحرام وتطيب في بدر وكره في ثوب وإحرام بإزار ورداء أبيضين, that it's recommended for the ihram to be with izar and rida, and izar is the lower garment and the rida is the upper garment. أبيضين, they're both white. So this is recommended to be white. If it's something else, it's valid, but it's recommended to be white because that's what the Prophet ﷺ did, and that's the best color. He says then عقب فريضة أو ركعتين في غير وقت نهي. It's recommended that he makes the ihram after faridah, after the time of an obligatory prayer, or after making 2 rak'ah في غير وقت نهي. If it's not the time of nahi, the time of salah is forbidden. So if it's after Asr and he already prayed Asr, then he should not pray to the 2 rak'ah. So there's no such a thing as 2 rak'ah of ihram. So there's no such a thing called rak'atay al-ihram or rak'ata al-ihram. Some people think that there's 2 rak'ah for ihram. No, there's no such a thing. But the Prophet ﷺ, when he made the ihram, it was Salatul Asr, for example. So he prayed Asr and he become in the state of al-ihram. So this is salah. Or he made ihram and he's in the masjid, he made ghusl, he made wudu. So he prays 2 rak'ah. So this is basically what it means. عقب فريضة أو ركعتين في غير وقت نهي. He says ونيته شرط. ونيته, that means the niyyah of al-ihram is a condition. That means the one that wants to make hajj or make umrah, if he did not have the intention of al-ihram, it is not valid for him. So say for example someone prayed the 2 rak'ah, put clothes on, things like this, but no intention of al-ihram, then he's not in state of ihram. So this is an intention, and the intention is in the heart. So the waniyatuhu shartuhu. So this is in his heart, that he has the niyyah of being in state of ihram, not that he has the intention to make hajj, the niyyah that he will be in ihram. He says وَالِاشْتِرَاطُ فِيهِ sunnah. وَالِاشْتِرَاطُ, to make a condition for one's ihram is sunnah, is recommended. That means, which is the shart that the Prophet ﷺ, he said as the hadith of Budaa bint Zubayr, when she was complaining of sickness or so, and she asked the Prophet ﷺ what to do for the ihram, he said, اشترطي, make a condition for your ihram, say Allahumma in habasani habis أو منعني مانع فمحلي حيث حبستني. So she would say, for example, لبيك اللهم عمرة, لبيك اللهم حجة, فإن حبسني حابس فمحلي حيث حبستني. That means habis is something prevented me, someone confined me, I'm not able to go forward. That means mahilli, my halal, the break of the ihram is where I was not able to continue. So then in that case, if she was not able to make it for the hajj or the umrah, she doesn't have to make fidya as a result of breaking the ihram. So this is al-ishtirat. So someone that is sick, someone pregnant, someone, anything like this, they should make that condition. Or as it says here, ishtiratu fi sunnah, because many things can happen. So if a person says it, then it's valid inshallah ta'ala. Then it says وَأَفْضَلُ الْأَنْسَاك. Now we're going to the different types of al-ansak. So these are the conditions. And then after that it talks about the different ansak, the different types of hajj, which is, as he says here, at-tamattu'. The best of the ansak, and the ansak are 3. Tamattu' and al-ifrad and al-qiran. The best of them is at-tamattu'. What is at-tamattu'? وهو أن يحرم بعمرة في أشهر الحج ويفرغ منها ثم به في عامه. So أن يحرم بعمرة في أشهر الحج, that you will make ihram with umrah in the months of al-hajj. ويفرغ منها, and he finishes with the umrah completely. ثم به, then به, what's به here? Ba and the damir here refers to the hajj. So ويفرغ منها, he finished with the umrah, then به, then by the hajj, then make ihram for the hajj. So this به means make ihram for hajj. then به في عامه, in the same year. It has to be, of course, in the same year. So these are the conditions for التمتع. As he mentions here. يحرم بعمرة, that's number one. That's what تمتع. A person, his initial ihram is Umrah. And this from any Umrah in the Ashhur of al-Hajj. It starts with Shawwal, Dhul Qa'dah, and the first 10 days of the Hajj. So if a person, the night of Eid after Ramadan, the last day of Ramadan, sunset, and now this is the beginning of Shawwal, the night of the first day of Shawwal. Someone made Umrah, then he can be tamattu in this case. Because this is, Shawwal is in the months of Hajj. So this is يحرم بعمرة في أشهر الحج, in the months of Hajj, which is Shawwal and Dhul-Qa'dah, and the first 10 days of the Hijjah. ويفرغ منها, and he finishes from the Umrah completely. ثم به, then he makes ihram of al-Hajj in the 8th of the Hijjah. في عامه, in the same year. Then that means he is متمتع. This is التمتع, and that's the best. This is the أفضل النسك. ثم الإفراد. What's the next in virtue? الإفراد. To make Hajj mufrid is better than al-Qiran according to this. Of course, the ulama have many differences of opinions which is better. But التمتع, it's almost, is the best. Some even said it's mandatory upon a person. But al-Ifrad or al-Qiran, which is best? Al-Ifrad comes next. Why is that? Because al-Ifrad, he would also have Hajj and Umrah together. But after, as the definition will show this, al-Ifrad, he would make the Hajj completely and then Umrah. So that's why they say it's better, because he made both. So he says ثم الإفراد وهو أن يحرم بحج, that he makes ihram with Hajj, not Umrah in the Ashhur al-Hajj, in the months of Hajj, that he would make ihram with Hajj. ثم بعمرة بعد فراغه منه, then to make Umrah after he finishes the Hajj completely, then he makes a Umrah afterwards. So this is al-Ifrad, as Aisha radiallahu anha, she made Umrah after the Hajj. So this is al-Ifrad. And of course, as it's going to be mentioned, the Mufrid does not have nusuk, he does not have a sacrifice. And that's why it's of a lesser level than the Tamattu. Then the third one, wal-Qiran. Wal-Qiran, what's the definition of al-Qiran? Al-Qiran comes from putting things together, which is أن يحرم بهما معا, that you would make ihram with both together, with Hajj and Umrah together at the same time. لبيك اللهم عمرة وحجة. He doesn't have to say the word قارن or قران. He can just say لبيك اللهم حجة وعمرة together in the same nusuk. So he's going to be in the ihram making both Hajj and Umrah together till he takes the ihram off. So this is one case. أو بها ثم يدخله عليها. أو بها. Or the second way of making Qiran is to make ihram biha. What's the ha here refers to? Al-Umrah. Why? Because Al-Umrah is mu'annath, right? With the ta marbuta at the end. So he says أو biha, meaning with the Umrah first. ثم يدخله. Then al-idkhal is to enter, to insert something. So he makes the ihram of Umrah and then to enter, to insert al-Hajj on it. So the لبيك اللهم عمرة only. And then later on, before the tawaf of the Umrah, for example, he would say, he would make the Hajj intention with it too. So لبيك اللهم عمرة وحجة. ثم يدخله عليها قبل الشروع في طوافها, before he makes the tawaf of al-Umrah. But if he makes the tawaf of al-Umrah, that's too late. And why would a person do that? This is in the case, for example, that as it's going to be mentioned, the woman making tamattu, and then she got her menses before she reached Mecca. So she's mutamatti'ah. And if she waits, then she cannot make tawaf. Then the days of Hajj might enter and she's still in the menses. So in that case, she would insert the Hajj with the same ihram. And in this case, she would not make the tawaf. And now she's doing Hajj and Umrah together. So that tawaf for her now, it's not obligatory upon her. And she would only make the tawaf of al-Hajj and the 10th and afterwards. So for example, a woman, if she doesn't have her menses, she can make tamattu. have the intention of tamattu. She says labbaik Allahumma umrah. And if she goes and she makes the umrah, mashallah, she finishes the umrah and then she's done with the ihram, and then in the eighth she makes ihram with hajj. What if menses comes on the eighth? She makes ihram. Everything is to be done. Only tawaf is not permissible if a woman is in menses, and of course salah. So she has to wait till she's clean for her to make the tawaf. But if she makes the niyyah of al-Umrah because she's mutamatti'ah, and then before she made the tawaf of al-Umrah, she received the menses. Then in that case, she makes the Hajj and Umrah together with one ihram, and she doesn't make the tawaf, and she stays till the eighth, and she goes with everyone else. So she's basically doing only the things of Hajj, but she's doing Umrah and Hajj together. So this is al-Qiran as is going to be mentioned. He says, أو بها ثم يدخله. See the importance of the ضمير. You would know which one is which, because Umrah is مؤنث and Hajj is مذكر. He says, وعلى كل من متمتع وقارن إذا كان أفقيا دم نسك بشرطه. That كل على كل, every متمتع and every قارن إذا كان أفقيا, if he's أفقيا. أفقيا, الأفق is the horizon, and الأفقي is the one that comes from far distance. So someone that is not a local, not someone that is a resident of Mecca, basically. If he's mutamatta or qaran, then he has to have a damu nusuk, which is the sacrifice. And if someone is local in Mecca, there's no sacrifice for them. بشرطه, so this is with the condition of it, which is, that means that the shart, which is with this damu nusukin bisharti, that means with that condition, that the dam here is dam of a tamattu and dam of qiran. And this is damu nusuk. It's not as a fidya or anything like this. No, this is part of the nusuk. Then he says, that means the mufrid does not have sacrifice, does not have the nusuk. Here's the mas'ala of the woman in hayd. وَإِنْ حَاضَتْ مُتَمَتِّعَةٌ فَخَشِيَتْ فَوَاتَ الْحَجِّ أَحْرَمَتْ بِهِ وَصَارَتْ قَارِنَةً. If the woman حاضت, become haid, menses, and she's mutamatti'ah, she's supposed to make umrah first. فَخَشِيَتْ فَوَاتَ الْحَجِّ, so she was afraid that she would miss the hajj because of the menses. أحرمت به, she would make ihram with al-hajj. لبيك اللهم حجة. Now she's making hajj and umrah. وصارت قارنة, and she becomes qarin. So hopefully this is clear, inshallah. And then it says, وتسن التلبية وتتأكد. وتسن التلبية وتتأكد. So here he's going to talk about the talbiyah, saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik. To the end, it's recommended. And this is one of the matters of a nusuk, of course, is to make talbiyah. And this talbiyah is recommended, and it's not obligatory thing. And tata'akkad, that means to sannu here, becomes very stressed in these places or these situations. Even though at all times when a person is in haram, it's recommended to say or to make talbiyah till they reach the haram. But here, the first one, إذا على نشزا. إذا على نشزا أو نجزا. But it's with a fatha sometimes, or with a sukun. Either way is correct. So a nashaz is the place that is above the ground. So إذا على, and if he ascends a place, so driving or whatever goes up, then it's more stress to make talbiyah then. أو هبط واديا, going down to a valley. So it's, as you see, any change while a person is traveling, it's stressed to make talbiyah. أو صلى مكتوبة, or he prayed a fard salah after he finished the fard salah and he's in haram, to make talbiyah. أو أقبل ليل أو نهار, or the night entered and he's traveling, it's recommended to start the talbiyah again. أو نهار, or the day starts. أو التقت الرفاق, الرفاق, the companions, or they met two groups together, two buses, they met in a rest area or something. So then it's recommended when they meet their company that they would make talbiyah again. أو ركب, or he start riding, or as again stopped for salah, stopped for rest, and then they get into the buses again, for example. Now it's recommended, it's very stressed to start the talbiyah again. أو نزل, or he came down from his ride, for example, to make talbiyah. أو سمع ملبيا, and if he hears ملبيا, it's recommended to make talbiyah. And that's one of the things that when someone makes talbiyah, you would find people start to follow him as a natural thing, right? But it's if you hear someone making talbiyah, don't say, well, I'm not gonna, is that a riyah or show off? I'm gonna make talbiyah because he's making talbiyah, yes, but you're not showing off. If if he hears someone making talbiyah, make talbiyah with them. أو سمع ملبيا أو رأى البيت, or he saw the house of Allah, the Kaaba, أو فعل محظورا ناسيا, or if he did something that is not permissible to do in the state of al-ihram forgetfully. There's no evidence for every specific situation here as mentioned, but this is basically, as the ulama they say, something new happened while he's traveling. Anytime something changed, if things are steady, for example, they're in a bus or the train and it's going, people are sleeping and things like this, that's it, that's fine. If they make talbiyah, that's good. It's stressed if it stops, for example, and then stop moving again, then it's stressed to make talbiyah. Or any of change that happens, it's this is something that has been reported from the Prophet ﷺ and the companions, they would do that. So this is the things that is recommended to make the talbiyah then. Then he says وَكُرِهَ إِحْرَامٌ قَبْلَ مِيقَاتٍ وَبِحَجٍّ قَبْلَ أَشْهُرٍ. وَكُرِه, it's disliked to make ihram before the miqat. The mawaqit is going to be the next chapter, inshallah. The places where it's not permissible for someone to go beyond it unless a person is in state of al-ihram if he's going for hajj or umrah. So to make ihram before the miqat, it's makruh. And if a person intentionally is doing that, it's bid'ah. And that's clearly stated by the Imam of the Deen, Imam Malik rahimahullah. Someone thinks that he gets more rewards this way. So this is like that, it can be in the category of bid'ah. But we have to differentiate between al-ihram and putting the clothing of al-ihram. To put the clothes of ihram before the miqat, that's fine. He's not in state of ihram. He can cover his head, he can do whatever he wants. So, but then the point here they mentioned that if someone does it, someone makes ihram before he reaches the miqat, is his ihram inaqad am la? Is it intact or not? The answer yes, but it's makruh for him to do it. وَكُرِهَ إِحْرَامٌ قَبْلَ مِيقَاتٍ وَبِحَجٍّ قَبْلَ أَشْهُرٍ. That means it's also makruh to make hajj or to make ihram for al-hajj, not make hajj, but to make ihram for hajj before the months of hajj. So this is a mas'ala here. If someone made ihram for hajj in Ramadan, is it a valid ihram? According to this, it's makruh, and they said, nothing to stop it. But the other way and others is that it's not even valid because it's not ihram in the time for it. So, but here it's yanaqid, but it's disliked for him. So this is with this fasl. Maybe we can take 5 minutes, inshallah. Then afterwards we'll talk about the miqat, inshallah. We'll take 5 minutes break, inshallah. بارك الله فيك. طيب سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.